Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Eddie D'Souza at the Cool Cat Recording Studio.
And I'm Jessica Myrna, and welcome to
You're the Star. Today, we are thrilled to have Karyn Ellis in the studio with us. And Karyn, if every song was a gold nugget, you would be sitting on the motherlode. I must say, I'm really impressed with your songwriting and production. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
It seems like most of us can either do the music or the business. You've put the two together. And please, what is your secret?
Magic. No. Necessity, I guess. I love playing music, and at some point I thought, I'm going to try to make a career out of this. I went to a school and did a management course and everything. And it became a necessity in order to, if I wanted to actually make a living at it, figure out how to do all those other things that go with playing music, like booking shows and making posters and websites and a million other things that you do. So I just started figuring it out. What did I need to do to try to get to play music? You know, I remember the first time I made a telephone call to somebody asking to play a show, trembling. It was like that scene in the movie, you're picking up the phone, putting it down again. But eventually I figured out, okay, you just got to do it, breathe, and so now I bumble along as I go, but still doing it.
Now you can pick up the phone right away.
Yeah.
And just give it a call.
You mentioned that you went to school. You actually have a BA then, right?
Well, I have a BA in music, which I did at Queen's. I did an opera major, which is pretty funny now, doing my folk songs. But and then later I went to it was like a private college for where you they have an audio production course and a management course. So I think it's more like a diploma or something. But really, it was not so much of the paper, but just that's where I learned about press kits and all those. It's basically running your own, being an entrepreneur. I like to make jokes about being a small businessman. That's me. Yeah.
So, what aspect of making music excites you the most right now?
Well, I am just entering into a songwriting period, which is always incredibly nerve-wracking and scary and a very exciting time for me. I put out an album about a year and a half ago, and so it's I'm just starting to think about, maybe I will make some new material for that. So there's something about that creative process that's I get giddy. I like words. I like the process of creating things. And
well, you really love it, so you would get like that even with Eddie writing songs. Any songwriter, it's just anything that you love. Yeah, you do get that. You just want to do it, and I know what you mean. I feel that.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, I've made something. I've made something. I don't know. It's kind of like I've made brownies, and you want to share them with everybody or something. It's like, I made a song. I want to play it for everybody. So I love doing that. Yeah.
Now, on a darker note, what discourages you about your music now?
I wish I played more instruments, which comes up when I'm writing. Because I got myself a banjo about a year ago.
And a violin? You have a violin?
And a violin. I have a tenor ukulele. I have all these wonderful instruments that just finding the time to sit down and get to know them and learn them is not exactly. Well, I don't know if it's discouraging, but it's just that thing of oh God, there's so many things. The world is so big, and there's so many things that I could be doing, and so it's a matter of, maybe what's related to that is the thing about, so I have all these hats that I wear, like we're just talking about the business side of it, so I'm making the phone calls and I'm updating my website, And then, time sort of whittles away, and you get to the end of the day, and it's like, oh, there's like 15 minutes.
Do you really want to learn a new instrument?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I know it's feels like,
yeah, I'm trying to learn. I mean, one of the reasons I moved out here was I was living in Toronto, and I just found the pace there was just crazy. Like, there was just the sheer, even if I didn't go anywhere, you were, constantly feeling that busyness of everything, about the city. I lived there for 9 years. Lots I loved about it. There's always stuff going on, but that also was trouble, right?
Yeah.
When I wanted to sit down and write or learn my instruments, So that was one of the very exciting things about coming out here. Is I'm actually living outside of Quesnel, in a little house outside of Cottonwood.
Wood heat?
And
you're roughing it now.
Yes.
Wood heat and everything. Yeah. So in regards to the music you enjoy and create, what moves and inspires you?
Like in the process of writing, you mean? Or just generally?
I guess for writing your songs, like what... I guess it would be what kind of mood you were in, what happened that day, just all of a sudden you just sit down and write something. What I guess has to happen that you've written your songs, your motorcycle song.
Yes.
So I guess it would be stuff that would happen in your life that really made you feel something. So what is some of the things that inspires you?
Well, it's funny because that song actually, the motorcycle ride is, it's a story song, which is, it's actually kind of unusual for me. I haven't written too many songs like that are actually about an event, somewhat fictionalized, but fair amount of self in there. Like he was actually my third boyfriend, not my first, but
we won't
poetic license, whatever. I don't know if it would have worked. Third boyfriend would be, but anyway. So for that one, that was it, because there was this image, this story that was happening. I just pretty much followed it through in my mind, and it makes it sound easy. It's not an easy process of writing, but it was like, it had a beginning and end and everything. But generally speaking, I tend to write. There's more like it's like emotional poems of sorts, emotional poems. Like I'm really into wordplay. I do a lot of crosswords, and I do a lot of adjectives and stuff like that. So I do a lot of that sort of stuff. So what I guess what excites me about that is like playing with words and then finding meaning out of them. So I'll spend a lot of time writing crap, but then, mining it and try to find what's in there that's an interesting, something about it will spark, like a juxtaposition that sparks.
Well, your songs are definitely catchy, so keep that up. It's working for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Karyn, you have actually done things that most musicians only dream of. You've actually cut through the red tape of Canada Council and Factor. How did you do that?
There's actually, it seems very daunting, I think, when you're trying to apply like all the granting systems, right? Like all that stuff. Basically, I've just written a lot of grant proposals. I think is probably the biggest way that I've cut through.
So
it's just I'm persistent. So,
okay.
I've written these proposals. I send them in, and then I hear them back, and I get a nice rejection letter, which I can put up on my bathroom wall, and then I turn it around, erase all the dates, and send it back in.
Oh, okay.
That's the quip story. But
Right,
I think in terms of the I actually like writing grants. I might be a weirdo that way. I know a lot of musicians are like, they find it really frustrating. It feels very bureaucratic, right? Sure. But it's actually, the people who are the juries, whatever, they're actually real people. That I think was one of the things that helped me to do it, was to realize it's actually just people that I know, and or might know, who
real people.
Real people. And so part of what I started to do with all that kind of the administrative stuff, right? The writing, you have to write a little essay. Why are you an artist?
How many times did you actually get rejected? For my
do
own
you want me
sake,
to? I have all the letters. There's a lot of them.
I was just wondering how many, because for myself, I gave up after one.
Yeah.
But,
see, I think
yeah,
I know I definitely didn't get the first one I applied for. Like my last record, I applied for a grant through Factor. It's called the Independent Loan Program, I think, and I applied 3 times for the record. It took 3 times for it to go through, and I'd actually applied for previous records, and I had never gotten it before. So maybe like 8 rejections.
So they're persistent.
Yes, I'm very persistent. But the thing about it is, I think what changed it for me to make it into not a horrible process, because it's definitely nice if you get the grants, right? I was able to make that video, right? The Bitter Grasses video was from a grant, and there's probably no way I would have made it otherwise. So it's definitely nice to get them. But I think when I started to think about them, less in terms of, like this agency of, like, I don't know, nebulous, nefarious, whatever, a group of people who are like trying to withhold money from me. When I started to look at it in terms of shaping my own, what do I want to do? Why do I make music? Like, why am I an artist? And so when I started to think about those questions and answering things in those terms, it ended up having this 2-pronged positive thing. Like, so I'd start to get grants, I would get some money, and then also I found that I became clearer. Like, I think my last record, we were talking about this off camera, but about the process of it's a very orchestrated record. I often play solo. Like it's sort of this big leap for me to make a record that had violent, strings and glockenspiels and horns, and like it was very big. And part of that process was it seems funny to link that directly to writing grants, but like part of that process was like really becoming clear in my mind, well, what do I want to make of my art? Like what excites me about it? And so from there, I think I ended up going, well, I really want to try working with strings. I really want to try, creating having a record with a choir on it, like, all these things that I think weren't as clear to me before the process of asking that question, which is essentially what somebody sitting on a jury wants to know. Well, why do you want to do that? Like, what's it about? So.
But you didn't get discouraged, like seeing that letter that you didn't get it. You kept trying. You posted it up. You didn't let it bring you down. A lot of people would just say, like they would give up. They would be like, whatever, 5 times it didn't happen or whatever. But, you kept going. I admire that. I'm a lot like that. I'm trying to not get discouraged because, even with what you're doing, I'm trying to do it in a different way, and trying to boost myself up, sell yourself, write down why you want to do what you're doing. But I'd really admire that you've kept going, so that's great.
Thanks. I just want to add to that because I always take, on the days that I get a rejection letter, I am inconsolable. That's the day. I'm the biggest pity party. If you ever, it's and I've decided that's okay. I take one day where I'm like, why the world hates me, just really like, just rail, this is terrible, this is the worst thing that's ever happened, and just like, my friends make me tea, and they're like, yes, it's terrible, and then put it aside. But it's like, it's almost like that I have to do that as well to really, like, because it is, we all, like, well, I can only speak for me, but I want to be loved by everybody. So how could they say no to that? So it's now it's not so bad.
Anyway, we are going to go to Karyn's videos now.